Wildlife Animal Sanctuary outside of Hillsborough. Well, we're sitting here on this side of the river, but on the other side of the river, Hillsborough. I'm the only outfit in West Virginia that can possess, rehab, and release wildlife into the environment. And I'm proud of the way I earned that recognition. But I sit here and I listen to you folks talk about the same thing and yet continually contradict each other. I cannot understand it. Everybody, I think, wants Pocahontas County to, in quotes, remain the same. But all you talk about is ways to change it. Cully here, who admittedly has provided a huge amount of information, contradicted himself. All he cares about is the wildlife and the resources and the environment of Pocahontas County, but yet he's talking about timber sales and money to go to the school system. Gil in the back wants everybody to come here with tourism, and it'd be fine and dandy with him if the population rose from 9,000 people to 11,000 people, and he's worried stiff that it's going to go down to 6,000 people. Well, the reality is that Pocahontas County is what it is, ironically, in part because of the federal government and the state government. 60-some%, and you can bring out the exact total or exact percentage, of this county is owned by government. And it remains the same because government has kept out private developers and everything else. Another fact that is definitely part of the change in the world, the change in this country, the change in this state, and perhaps the change in this county, is that economic resources are being squeezed, especially for the federal government. The one outfit that owns most of the land in this county, the National Forest Service, can turn around and sell whatever they want to a developer. They can butcher down the forest, and they can allow for all that drilling. That is a fact. Norman over here doesn't want any kind of permits. He doesn't want any kind of concentration of government power. Well, the reality is that what all of you want is the county to stay the same. Now, granted, if this area became a national monument, we're not talking about the whole county, but it is another step towards protection. And perhaps Cully has the answer. I do not know of any national monument that once it was created was turned over to private entities in terms, maybe you have, some private entities do, some motels and maybe some restaurants or something like that. But I don't believe any national monument was ever sold off to private entities. Is that, you've done this huge amount of research. Has any national monument been sold off, or even parts of it? Has anybody taken 10,000 acres and said, okay, here, Donald Trump, you can go build something?
Yes. There have been portions that the control's been handed over to local governments, cities and counties, and then there's been concession operations.
Oh, that's well, okay. All right, so let's take your worst case fears of those who oppose this national monument. Worst case fears. The president comes along. Heck with this county commission. Heck with the state of West Virginia. Cully told you. President comes along. Cranberry Wilderness is a national monument. And worst case fears. No hunting, no fishing, no timber, no, whatever the no that you want to include gets included. All right, well, it's still a smidgen of a portion of the entire county. And it by itself, according to Cully, who he says really concerned about the wildlife, would then become a hub, a focus for wildlife and other kinds of resources to develop, to breed, to emanate from that area to other places in the entire county where, when we're talking about 60-some% of this county, there's roughly, a little less, 1,000 square miles. That's 600 square miles of forest owned by either the state or the national government. If you lose 10 or 15 square miles to a national monument, at least that's protected forever. You still got the other 590 square miles. To oppose this is absolutely ludicrous for every single one of your interests.